everyone, Pam Savage with Young at Heart Creations. Just wanted to hop on for just a second and say hi to you. This is not a planned live, but not going to be painting with you right now, but I did have something that I wanted to talk to you about that I thought maybe might help you. But I am working on sunflowers right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 going at one time. So that's what I've been doing last night and this morning. I'm about to get started on them again to get ready for a craft show that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing one on the 13th of next month and possibly one in December. I'm not sure yet on that one. Just depends on how much product I have left on that one. So speaking of craft shows, I've been doing, as a vendor, I've been part of a craft show for 20 something years. And so I've only done one specific craft show, the one that's here by me that I helped start and founded with the Band Boosters here. But I've learned so much, but not only as a vendor, but I also coordinated the craft show for 18, 19 years. So I've learned a lot over the years about craft shows, and not only did am I a vendor in that show and coordinated it and, you know, put it together. That was kind of my baby for years. I have gone around to hundreds of craft shows and talked to hundreds of vendors, inviting them to our show and learning about their product and the ins and outs for them. So I feel like I am not an expert by any means, and I don't give any legal advice or anything like that. You know, I just don't do that. I don't know all of those answers, but I do know enough that I think I can help you. I've seen so many people on my page and a couple of the groups that I'm in talking about, you know, this is my first time to do craft shows. I'm too nervous to do craft show. I don't know that much about doing craft fairs. Hi, Jerry. So I thought, well, you know, I've been doing craft shows as a vendor and also as a big craft show coordinator for several years. So I just thought maybe I could give you some tips on how to have a successful craft show. Every one that I've done, I've always done well at. Sometimes I've done better than others, but when I was a vendor, and I still am, but for many years at the craft show that we have here in Howell, I was also the coordinator, so I handled all the vendors. I did everything at the show with the help of the Band Boosters. You know, so I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, making sure everybody had what they needed and making sure the vendors were okay and that the customers were okay. Plus having my booth. I would always have someone run my booth, and I would just come in and out of my booth. So I've been on both sides, actually 3 sides, you know, as the coordinator of the craft show, as the vendor in the craft show, and as a customer in the craft shows, craft fair, craft show, you know, bazaar, whatever you know want to call them. So I feel like I've kind of gotten my feet wet enough in those that I could help you with some things on that. So I thought I would just go over. I just jotted a few things down that I thought of here just a few minutes ago. So now there's so much more. So what I'm thinking about doing for next year, I don't know that I can get it put together for this year, but just putting on my website for like $5, not a course or anything, but just a written out list, step by step, what you will need to check out, what you can do to hopefully make your show that day special for you and successful. So the first thing that I know that you will have to have is a tax ID number. And that's about as much as I'm going to get into that part of it. But you do have to have a tax ID number if you're going to sell anything. You do have to be registered. So, and I think you can do that online now. I actually went to my comptroller's office when I got mine. So you do need that. If the comptroller does come around and check the craft shows or whatever event you're attending, and they do, we have had them show up at ours. before, and I call it ours because it's the one that I've been a part of for so long and that I got started and coordinated for so long. But they will come around, and I know the fine is pretty hefty. At one time, I don't know what it is now, but if they came and asked you for your tax identification number and you did not have it, it could be up to a $500 fine. Now, I don't know what those numbers are now. I don't know what the procedure is, what they do, but you do need to have something there showing your proof of your tax ID number, because you do have to report sales tax. That's all I'm going to say about that part, because I don't know enough. Every state's different, you know, every area is different. Be sure every county is different as far as how much tax they charge. You need to be charging, you know, so you get into all of that. I don't know all of that. I don't want to get say something wrong on that. I do know that they have event insurance, so check with your insurance provider. You can get insurance just for event. I have not checked into that. I just learned about that. Say somebody tripped over one of your displays and got hurt, you know, they could sue you. But I've learned that there is some kind of insurance that's called just event insurance. I don't know enough about it to say anything else about it, but I will be checking into that. Okay, so tax ID number, and I'm just going to kind of go down my notes here. Let me get myself pulled up over here so I can see your comments. I'm sorry, I should have already had that done. Pulled up here. So if you do have a question that's not legally, you know, legal related or anything like that, write your question down. I mean, comment in the comments and let me know. But so tax ID number, know how much tax to charge, and then, you know, have product, of course. You don't want to show up at a show where there's going to be a couple of thousand people or 500 people and you've only got 10 items to sell. You know, make your booth look full. If you can't get big items done, a lot of them, then just take some little things like the Mod Podge little canvases that I've been showing you that I worked on. I think I've got almost 50 of those that I'm going to take, and I call those fillers. Here's another little sample. I did not make these. I have a little, I call her one of my other daughters, but one of the craft shows she made. These are tongue depressors. So they're tongue depressors just cut in half with a pin. That one came off. I knocked it off. With a little pin that you would pin to your shirt, hot glued on the back of them. Now, you might use like E6000 or something like that today. These were a long time ago. But look how cute these are. She just painted the front of them. Here's a ghost for Halloween. Here is a little snowman, and you could do the face completely, get really detailed on the little face. And then here is Rudolph. He had a little red nose. I knocked it off. It was a little bit different. Now that is just a little glue spot that she painted for his nose there. So you can see that that's 3D. But I call these little things fillers. Are they going to make you a lot of money? No, but it is something that helps fill your space, and they kind of grab attention to the others, to people pulling them in. And a lot of people want things like co-worker gifts or just little stocking stuffers. So have some things that are $10 and under that take you that long, you know, to do, but fills a space. You don't want your space looking void, like you don't have anything. Now, at the end of the day, you've got those voided spaces because you've sold everything. That's great. You know, that's good. You want that. But so that's what I call fillers. So I do a lot of little things like this. This is just a 1x, and it was already stained and everything. It was an old fence that we cut up, and it says Happy Fall, y'all. And little pumpkin. I did little Santas. I did Christmas ones. I had the Santas, and then I had a little snowman that said Let It Snow. And y'all, this one is mine because I put the apostrophe in the wrong spot. So I kept this one. But just little fillers that you can just, you know, sit on the shelf. Just great little gifts for, you know, a teacher. They're always wanting teacher gifts and things like that. So these were, I think I had these for this size for $5, and then I had some that were a little bit bigger for $8. So it doesn't have to be something, all pricey. You do want your larger items to make, some money, of course, but have something to fill in with. And let's see. Okay, I'm just going to kind of check these off as I go. I put prices on all of my items as I paint them. As I complete an item, I go ahead and put that price tag on there, write what it is, and put that price tag on there so I'll know how much it was. I've already got it priced. I don't have to worry about it, the day before the show. Oh, I got to get prices on everything. That's as a vendor. As a customer, when I go into someone's booth, if they don't have prices on anything, I walk out. It's awkward to say, how much is this? And, if it's more than you want to pay, you go, oh, okay, and put it back. And it's awkward, sometimes embarrassing. So take the time to put prices on all of your products. If you don't want to price individually, at least have them grouped like, say, okay, so these shelf sitters, just have a sign, say all shelf sitters, $5. Let the customer know how much your product is without them having to come ask you. Because if I have to do that, I leave that booth. And it's not being rude for me personally, and I've had many people say that. Yeah, if they don't have prices on things, I just don't waste my time in it because it's just a little awkward. So that's another tip that I have for you. So price everything. When you're getting ready to load and get all of your things ready, as I'm about to, I've got a room here full of stuff ready to go. And I have learned this by it happening, but I had a little child's table that I worked on so hard and got it all painted and pretty, and somebody else loaded it for me and I almost ruined it. I was able to save it. I had to redo it the night before. But, protect your items so that when you get there, they're not all scratched up. You don't have paint knocked off of them. I put mine now in little baggies, clear trash bags, so that I, number one, can see what's in them, and so that it protects them. You can hang them on a rod if you have a trailer or a car, a clothes rod, or stack them in a Rubbermaid bin. You could do them that way. Hi, Heather. You could do them that way. We're talking about craft show tips today, Heather. So if you've just hopped on, that's what we're talking about today. So we're to the point of when you're ready to load things up. So I do put mine in those plastic containers. Clear plastic bags, so that, hi Deetra, so that you don't get there and they're all messed up and you've got things knocked off of them. I put 2 to a bag. I put them back to back so that they're not going to scratch each other up. Now, I am very, very blessed with this craft show that I do every year, the one in Howell. It's 5 minutes from my house, literally 5 minutes from my house. So if I have forgotten something, I can run back and get it. So right now we're kind of going over the notes of prepping for a craft show. And go back and watch the beginning of this if you've just hopped on and watch the replay. So because I did give a little more information in the beginning. So I'm just going down a checklist that I just wrote about 15 minutes ago because I was working on stuff here and I thought maybe I can give them some tips that will help them to have a successful craft show. So protecting your items, make sure that you bag them so that they're not going to scratch each other. Back to back, put them in a clear bag so that you can see what's in them. Already have price tags on them as you paint them. Price them as you finish a product. That way you're not spending an entire 2 days before the show frantically trying to price everything. And I do make a list of everything I take. I go ahead and list it as I'm doing it. Take some business cards. If you have business cards, take something so the person, if you take orders or if you have paint parties or something like that, be sure and take, if you don't have business cards, let me grab one of mine right quick. Oh, there's Petunia. She holds my business cards for me. But take something and have it displayed where they don't have to ask you if you have a card. It's sitting right there by where they pay. You could even set some around on a couple of your tables if you want to, but If you don't have business cards, and some of you don't yet, and you don't want to invest in that yet, take a printout. Just print out something on a computer with your information on it so that they do know how to contact you. One, if they want to purchase something else, or if they want to book a party. But number two, if something happens to the product, you know, if for some reason there's something faulty with it and it broke or something came off and they're needing to get it fixed, they've got a contact number to call you. Now, of course, if it's something they purposely did, or not purposely, but anyway, you'll know, you know, you don't want to do refunds or returns, but unless it is something that was your fault, your product, then you want them to have a way to contact you. Good customer service. So always picture this. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So business cards for, you know, so that they can contact you. And you want change. I have a cash drawer that I purchased, and I do keep change because a lot of people are going to pay with cash. So be sure you take enough change, coin and bills, whatever, and get something good to put it in, something maybe that you can lock, but don't ever walk away and leave your money. Have somebody with you or a safe place that you can put it, or carry it with you if you have to go to the bathroom or something. I just got a Square reader because so many people now, that's the thing, they want to pay with debit or credit cards. So I haven't actually used it myself. My daughter-in-law helped me at my painter's event in August, and she did all the taking in of that and running your cards, and it worked great. Everything went great, I'm understanding. So she's going to be with me the first part of the day and going to help me to learn how to use that. So one of us will be taking cards, card payments, and another one will be taking cash payments. I do not take checks at craft shows for the, you know, it's just the world we live in. You're going to end up with a hot check. So, and then your product is gone and you've lost the money on that. So I don't take checks, cash or debit card, credit card. So make sure you have plenty of change on hand. Usually the event that you're at, they will have some cash for the vendors, but you know, you would need to ask them that. Preparing, we're still in the preparation part. And this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm really struggling with right now. Hi, Jean and Deetra. When do you stop painting? When do you stop getting everything ready for the craft show? So I have set a limit. Here is, I'm painting these sunflowers today, and then I'm going to try to work on the little kitchen set next week. So I'm going to stop my painting because my craft show is in 2 weeks. So I'm going to spend next week on painting stuff, but then the week of the show, this next weekend is my last weekend to work on product. So I'm stopping next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday will be my last day to get anything ready. There may be other things that I wanted so bad to get ready, and there will be, but I have to stop at some point and get organized and ready for the show. You don't want to get to the time of the show and be just frantic trying to get everything ready for your craft show, because it will come through to your customer and you're going to be stressed. And you know, it's stressful enough. It's like setting up a business all in 2 days, 1 day. Some places only let you set up that morning. The one that I'm at, that I'm doing next month, I got that set up when I started the show, the craft show, years back. Since it is a school, we let them all set up on that Friday night, and everything's locked up and safe. And so when you get there the next morning, it's ready. That is wonderful. So craft shows that let you set up the night before, that is fantastic. You know, so don't paint right up until the last minute trying to get things ready. Set yourself a stopping time to give yourself at least, you know, 3, 4, 5 days to just get everything ready to take to the show, to go down your checklist. I need this, I need that, what do I need? So that way you're going to be a lot less stressed, you'll be more rested. And it's hard to stop because I still have all these unfinished products, but you know what? There's going to be another show next year, so I just will be ahead of the game for things to paint for next year. So I've learned that the hard way, because I have stayed up till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning the night before the show trying to, you know, I need more product, I need more product. Yes, you do need product, but don't do it right up until the time of the show. That works best for me anyway. So a stopping point to organize. Say, okay, that's all I'm doing. Done. Take a deep breath and now focus on the show itself. If, let's see, you want to advertise the show yourself, the event, they should be doing advertising. You know, they should be doing a lot of advertising, but now, especially with media and Facebook and everything we have, hi Veronica, you want to start advertising that show yourself on your media. Everybody at church, everybody at work, anybody you can think of, start advertising that show. Let them know when it is. Let them know where your booth is going to be. Here's where you find me. I posted a map on here of where I'm going to be at this show. I'm going to be up by the stage. When you're facing the stage, I'm on the left-hand side of the stage. So let them know where you're going to be so that they can easily find you. But let them get the word out about the show. You know, each event, especially when it's a school event, their funds are limited on advertising. You know, they don't have much to advertise with. So any advertising that you can do is great. If you want to print up flyers, which I've done many times, print up flyers about the show itself, hand them out when you're in Hobby Lobby. Say, hey, there's a craft show coming up. Hand out, you know, what woman in Hobby Lobby is not going to want to know about a craft show? So I've done that lots of times. So do what you can to help get the word out about the show. Let's see, so we've gotten that. So let's talk about what we're going to take to the show, and then once you get to the show, how to run your booth to be successful. I feel like I can talk about this because I'm not an expert, like I said, but I have done so many, every year for almost 23, 24 years, I've had a booth at this show, and I have visited so many other vendors when I was trying to get vendors for the show, when I was the coordinator, that I've spoken to many, and we've talked about what works, what doesn't work. So I'm not on here as an expert about this. I just thought I had some tips that might help you if you're doing events, if you're doing craft shows or craft fairs. Okay, so I always take a little toolkit with a little screwdriver, a hot glue gun, in case something with one of your products, if the hanger comes off, you know, some extra price tags. Maybe a price tag got knocked off or torn off when you were taking everything there. But I always take a marker, extra couple pins, some paper clips, extra hooks for hanging on your displays, or just a little, and it's just in like a shoebox size clear plastic bin. And I just take things like that, scissors, pliers. You're going to want to take pliers or something like that for setup. But just take you a little toolkit of things that you know that you would need. I also take, if you have a booth that's going to have electricity, in the past I have always put lights up around the top of my display. I don't know if I'll do that this year. I have a little bit different display, but I always, you know, anything to draw the attention to your booth. It's either, I can't remember, but there was a survey and a study done. It's 3 to 10 seconds, I don't remember what it was, to grab the attention of someone walking by in your booth. They're either going to stop or they're going to go on. So you've got to have something that grabs their attention. And we'll get into a little bit more of that here in just a minute. But if you have lights, that's great. If you don't, just the little twinkle lights or, you know, whatever. But if you can put up lights, that always draws attention. So we talked about advertising your booth. I always take some kind of little bags for them to put their product in. If, like Brahms sacks, they're good. They have handles on them. You may have sacks with your business name on them. I don't have that. So I always take a good sturdy sack. Now some of my items are too big. They're not going to be able to put them in a sack. You can take some of those clear trash bags that you brought the items in. You're going to have a lot of those left over because your items are going to sell. Yes, they are. So take those, and you can easily put, put some of the larger items in those, and they can carry them out with that because you want them to get home with everything looking as it did when they purchased it. So I always take plenty of bags, Walmart sacks for all the little things. I actually purchased some sacks for my event that I had in August that I'll be using for the smaller items. But something for them to carry it in. They're more likely to purchase more if they have something to put it in. If you want to paint in your booth while they like seeing you making something, I don't typically do that because I'm busy and I've got so many people coming in that I don't have time to paint. I want to focus on the customer. But if it's a slower show, you could do that. So that's just your preference. If you want something that, if you're just base coating stuff, they like to see you painting. But I just haven't done that yet. I haven't mastered that, I guess. But like I said, I was coordinating the show. So I was not only vendor, but I was running the show with the help of the Band Boosters. I look like Minnie Mouse with that bow behind me. It's sticking out there. So that's just your preference if you want to do that. So you could take paint if you wanted to. Check with the vendor. Are they going to provide tables? Are they going to provide chairs? Some do not. You will need your own tables and your own chair. You may want to take your own chair anyway if you have something that's comfortable for you. But I've gotten to some shows and the vendor said, we didn't realize they didn't have tables and chairs. We were at the last minute scrambling to have something to set up with. So more than likely, most vendors are not going to, they may provide chairs, but they're not going to provide your tables. That's just common. So you want to make sure that you have everything you need to set up. Okay, we talked about toolkit. Set up early. Like I said, this one that I go to each year, we get to set up the Friday night before. But find out what time your setup time is and don't be late. You don't want to have customers coming in and you're still trying to set up your booth. So you want that done early, just like if you were going to a job. Your boss doesn't want you there 15 or 20 minutes late, and if you go to a store and you're going to a store to purchase something, you get there and the doors are locked. They're supposed to open at 9 and it's 9:20 and they still don't have the doors open. You're probably not going to shop there very often. And they'll know that from year to year. You're going to build a reputation as a vendor. I always cover my tables. It may just be the little plastic cloths that you get like at Dollar Tree. I try to skirt them. If I can get hold of skirts, I can't even find those right now. I'm going to have to order them on Amazon if I order any. But I did get some tablecloths that are longer. They don't come all the way to the ground, but they are almost come to the ground. So always cover your tables and remember that it's not a garage sale. You're not putting your stuff out like a garage sale. Think of your craft booth for that day as your store. That is your business. That is your store for that day, for however long you're there. So you want it to look inviting. You want it to look professional. You don't want it to be a don't touch booth. You don't want it to be that. But you do want it to look professional, like that you took some time, you took some care and thought into displaying. Don't just go throw it all out on the table. More than likely, you're just not going to get many lookers if you do that. You do want to set it up. Or the dentist, but it does remind me I need to reschedule. So you don't, you want it to look nice, as if you were going into a boutique, or so it doesn't have to be fancy. You can take little crates and put a cloth over them and set them up. You don't want everything at the same level. That's boring. You want some things at different heights. Get a big coffee can and cover it or paint it or something. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. Use what you've got around the house. They don't have to know what's under that cloth. But if you've got 5 statues of Santas, and if you just line them up, you're probably going to sell something. But just think how pretty they would look at different heights. You're thinking about grabbing people's eyes. Hi, Teresa. So think of it how you would look at it. So you want to display, how do you decorate your house? You don't put everything all just out on the table and just everything's at the same level. You're going to put it at different spots. So you want it to be eye-catching. And just use what you've got. You know me, if I need something, I go around the house picking up stuff that, hey, I never thought about using that like that. but you can. There's all kinds of different things you can use as displays. If you have a bookshelf, you know, that's around the house, if you have a way to get it there, take that bookshelf and set your things up in that. 2 ladders with a board across it makes a nice nice display. So you can Google craft shows or YouTube craft booth setups and get lots of good ideas that way. There's so many good ideas. Okay, so we've got our tables covered and ready to set everything up. Think about it as your store, not a garage sale. When you have customers that come in to your booth, you want to greet them. You want to greet them with a smile. You want to, you know, say, hey, come on in, have fun shopping, or something. Thanks for coming to my booth. You know, feel free to look around. Don't get on to them for touching. I had some vendors come to me when I was coordinating the show and say, just don't have anybody they're just not purchasing anything. They're coming in and they kind of leave with this look on their face. And so I talked to her a little bit, and so I talked to the vendors around her quietly, and they said, well, every time somebody goes in and she goes in and she picks up something to look, people pick it up to look at it, she goes, oh, please don't touch that. Please just look. Please don't touch. I'm not going to buy anything in a booth like that. I'm not going to spend, especially on, like, some of my door hangers are $40. If I'm going to be spending $40 on something, I want to handle it. I want to see how it's made. I want to look at it. I want to bond with it, you know. And so let your customers, if you've got something you don't want people touching, it doesn't belong at a craft show. Now, I will say, if it's breakable, you need to put it up higher or out of reach so that only adults can reach over and get it. You know, you don't want everything breakable down at toddler or child level. So if you can, put it up higher. But definitely encourage your customers to touch your items, and you should have them sealed to where it's not going to hurt if they touch them. But you will have a lot more sales if you let your customers hold and handle and look at your items. More than likely, if they don't purchase it right then, just picking it up, handling it, really looking at it, puts it in their mind. They may go walk around a little bit and think, you know, I really like that. But the more I think about that, and they'll come back around and they'll end up purchasing it. So, so don't get onto them for, you know, touching your stuff. Encourage them to touch your items. Now, if they are eating, if they have food, you know, if they have a drink or something like that, say, oh, you know, could you be careful? Could you set your drink down while you look at that? Especially if you have clothes that you're selling, t-shirts or something like that. Somebody's kids come up with chocolate on their hands, you know, or they've had cotton candy. So you can put a sign up, you know, please, if you have food or something on your hands, be careful. But just be very careful about that, because you can run people out of your booth. The next thing about people coming into your booth, when I go into a booth and I'm wanting to look at something, now when I'm saying greet your customers and encourage them to touch and feel things, greet them and then leave them alone. Be there for them, but don't hover over them like they're going to be a shoplifter, or like, you know, I don't want you to touch that, or you're behind them. When they move something, you're instantly putting it back where they got it from. You know, don't be that kind of a vendor where you just make them feel uncomfortable, you know, being in your booth. That's not what you want. You want to make it as Santa's workshop, where, you know, everyone's welcome. It's a fun experience, and you want them leaving that show remembering your booth was fun. I, a lot of times, will take a bowl of something for the little kids to have something free, whether it be a candy cane. One year I bought this big bag of 100 and something little tiny erasers. They were just Christmas erasers. And I put them in this bowl and say, hey, would you like an eraser? Now, you want to be careful. You don't want it to be a toddler that's going to swallow something. So think of things like that. But just something that they could take free. So we've done that many times. But if I walk into a booth, and to me this is, number one, it's rude. It tells me you really don't want to be there. You could care less whether I'm there or not. But that is when I walk in and somebody's, you know, they never even acknowledge I'm there. They're on their phone. They're scrolling through their Facebook. They're scrolling, through this or that, or they're on their phone having a personal conversation the whole time you're in there. If I walk into a store and somebody's doing that and I'm needing help, that is just not good etiquette. It is not good manners, and I promise you, your booth is not going to do very well if you do that. And I've had discussions with vendors in the past that said, my booth's just not doing very well. And I said, well, can I be honest with you? Yes. Every time I walk by, you've got people in your booth and you're sitting there on your phone and you're not even acknowledging them, and they're not, every time I can tell you the ones that are complaining because they're not selling enough. It's not because the craft event did not do their part. It's because they are not being a good host, a good store manager, if you will. When when you walk in, you expect good customer service when you go into a store, or when you have to do something with a business. Well, you've got to think of your craft show that way. As a business, it's your business. You're the manager. Do you want them to come back? It may not be coming back that day. It may be. They may come back 2 or 3 times and purchase something from your booth before the day's over. But they're going to look for you next year if you made them feel, really welcome in your booth. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So don't hover over them. Make them feel welcome. Acknowledge them. Let them know you're attentive. Thank them when they purchase something. Make them know that you appreciate it. And always give them a business card or something to let them know to contact you. A good strategy that I've learned works every time. I'm sorry, I'm getting lots of texts here. That I have found works every time. Halfway through the day, sometimes, the shows get a little stagnant. The mornings are usually really busy, but then lunchtime, there's a lull during lunchtime. And then, usually the afternoon's a little bit slower, but you do have repeat people that come back. And what I have learned is that about halfway through the day, if you will rearrange your items, just completely rearrange them. Maybe you had the Santa over here. He didn't seem to be selling really well. Move him over here. Just rearrange everything. And you're going to get people that come back around that wanted to do one more look before they leave. And they're going to say, oh, I didn't see that the first time I was here. Did you put out some new stock? No, I didn't. He was here. Don't tell him you just rearranged. Just say, he was here. You must have just missed him. But that works almost every time. Even when I do garage sales, if I just rearrange my stuff, it is amazing how they think you've put out a whole new stock line, and you will sell some more. That's just a guarantee. I've never had that not work. So change it up about midday. Just switch it all around and make it look like a whole new booth. Alrighty, let's see if there's so much more that I won't go over here on this little short video, but I'm hoping to put together a little package and put it on my website next year so that it will help you. But anybody that's watching on here, if you're doing a show or a paint party or anything and you have questions, private message me. I'm more than happy to answer the questions that I know. I don't know it all for sure, but I think I know enough that I could probably help you or answer your question. Sometimes people will say, okay, here's 2 door hangers. You've got them marked at $35 each. If I buy 2, will you knock $5 off, $10 off? I don't do that because I can sell it. I don't have to mark my items down. They're going to sell. But just because you're buying 2, that doesn't mean that I spent less time on one of them or 2 of them. I still put the same amount of time, the same amount of money into making or purchasing the product to paint. So I don't do discounts. And also something you need to think about is the event. More than likely, they're going to ask for door prizes, because they're going to give door prizes away all throughout the day. So they might ask you to donate a door prize. So that's something you might want to think about you know, what are you going to donate as the door prize. And be sure and put your information on the back of that door prize so they'll know which booth it came from, who you are, and a contact number. So that if they want to order something else from you, they're going to have that information. So you may be asked to take a door prize or to donate a door prize. So be sure and take something that, you know, you don't mind donating. Try to donate something. It doesn't have to be big. You know, it can be something small. You may want to donate one of your big ones, and they're going to go, wow, you know. And when I was coordinating the craft show, I'd always announce, okay, so-and-so just won this. This is from this booth, so-and-so. Go over and visit this booth. You may want to give a gift certificate to your booth. You know, a lot of them will accept that. Say, okay, here's a $10 off of whatever you want in my booth. There's a door prize. It's going to get somebody in your booth, and they're more than likely going to purchase something else. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else I had on here. I don't see anything else right now, and this wasn't planned, so I just jotted things down quickly that I could think of just right off the top of my head. So if you think of anything else that you have questions about, please don't hesitate to ask me. If you would, please spread this video, because I know there are others out there that have some questions about it, that are nervous. I've been seeing you on here, you know, I'm so nervous. This is my first craft show. What do I do? So hopefully this helps somebody, you know, with that. But I am always open to instant messages. You know, let me know if you have any questions at all. And I hope you can come to the one that we have on November the 13th at the Howell High School. And again, my booth will be facing, when you're facing the stage, I'll be on the left-hand side of the stage. And come in, pop in, say hi, say, hey, I'm one of your followers, give me your name. And I would love to give you a hug. Where I think we don't have to wear masks or anything right now. So as of right now, we don't. So hopefully we can just see each other's smiles, and I hope to see you there. But if you have any other questions, just let me know, and I hope this was helpful to you. I've got to go get into my painting clothes, and I have got to get with it, because remember, I've set myself a deadline, 1 more week of painting, and then I have to stop and focus on the show itself. So I hope this has been helpful, you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.